Ed Sheeran's back with a whole new album called Equals. Now this album is part of a 5-part album series featuring all the mathematical symbols. Well, the main ones. It began with plus, then multiply, then on to divide, and now we have equals. But if you think about it, it's pretty weird that this album is called Equals. Because if you're counting right, this is only the 4th album of the 5-part series, which means that there's at least one more coming out. And that last album is actually due sometime in the next 1.5 years, which is exciting. So all that's left is minus, which is pretty weird because you'd think that equals would be a nice closer to all these mathematical symbols. But anyways, this new album has 14 tracks and 0 features, which I like. And so far I've only heard 3 of these songs: Bad Habits, Visiting Hours, which I've made a video on, check it out, and Shivers, so I'm coming into this about 80% blind. I am very excited to hear this, so let's go. Here it is. First song, Tides. Ooh, this is a lot more intense than I expected it to be. Wow, that's angelic. Oh my god, that really came out of nowhere. Ooh, I love that breakdown. Ooh, I like the build-up of this. Wow, what an opener. What an opener. That was unexpected to say the least. So okay, my first impression of that song. Now I've never heard that song before this. That was my first time ever hearing that song. And my first impressions were, wow, this is very strong. And the consistency of the beat, the bump, 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 that was very powerful and like head shaking. Like, it was very intense. I think intense is a better word. My first impression of that song was that it gave me Castle on the Hill vibes. Remember that song from his previous album? It was one of his first singles. And by Castle on the Hill vibes, I mean that feel-good message of like growing up. It's a coming of age kind of thing. And you can especially hear it in the lyrics of this song, where it's about him being a dad for the first time, having his daughter. And that message paired with the sound of like, you know, real instruments, juxtaposed by the way by that angelic breakdown that we had like twice in the song. That was it came out of nowhere. It was a nice contrast to have in the middle of the song. It's a nice break. Again, it was very intense with the drums and like the consistent beat. They worked together pretty well, I'd say. But yeah, that was definitely a good song, worth saving, at least for me. I'm excited for this album. Okay, so while editing this video, I just noticed that this song, at least the beat with the drums, bum bum bum, you know, the very strong drums, it sounds a lot like the song I Feel Weird by Steel Train. So if you like that beat, check that song out. Okay, next song. The next song is called Shivers. Now I've heard this song because it came out not too long ago, but I did not make a video on it. So yeah, let's have a listen. It's like you're I love this part. The harmonies. Ooh. Let me give you my honest opinion on that song. Now again, I've heard it before because it did come out before this full album came out. However, I didn't really like it that much to begin with. Again, this is just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree. Don't punish me for my opinions. But yeah, I don't know. It was too poppy for me to begin with. It gave me a lot of Number 6 collaborations vibes. And in case you don't know, that was his in-between album that he released between Divide and Equals. If you listen to the album in full, you'll start to see or hear, the similarities in the productions between both of these songs. But with all that being said, I will say I might grow into the song. Before I pressed play on that song just now, I wasn't looking forward to listening to it again, I'll be honest. But I was bopping to it more than I thought that I would. And that's when I realized this is actually not that bad of a song. Yeah, I might be backtracking on my opinion. It's a nice headbanger. Now again, even though I'm liking it more, it's not like the best song out there. I'll say it that way. It's not a bad song, but it's also, in my opinion, not the best. Tides was better than this, in my opinion. But the bridge of the song was, it sounded so good. With the harmonies and the slow build-up of the instrumental. Ooh, it sounded really nice. So yeah, that was Shivers. Next song. The next song is called First Times. Let's get it. This is a feel-good song with a signature Ed Sheeran style. Ooh, those strings in the background really add a nice touch. Ooh, the violins and violas in the background though. First times. That was nice and delicate and signature Ed Sheeran. I think signature Ed Sheeran is the easiest way to describe it, because you know, it's acoustic guitar with some piano at the back. A nice combo to have, especially with Ed Sheeran's voice. I don't know what to say. It was pleasant. The storytelling and the songwriting was nice. You know, he opened the first verse with talking about performing at Wembley for his Multiply tour, which was a big deal at the time. And he talks about having a kid for the first time. There seems to be a theme in the songwriting so far. But yeah, compared to the previous two songs, especially compared to Shivers, this was super raw in both the production and the songwriting and the singing. You can hear it the most in the bridge where he sings. His voice was more raspy when he sung, and in the final chorus when everything broke down, everything was quiet. It was very raw, and I appreciate that. That was a pleasant song. That's the best way to describe it. Pleasant. So the next song is Bad Habits. Bad Habits is one of the other songs that I have indeed heard before, because it was the first single of this album. So yeah, let's get into it.
My bad habits lead to late nights and then alone. Bad habits lead to you.
Bad Habits. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of that song at all. Yeah, zero. I don't know, I really didn't like that song even when it first came out. I'm just being honest. That's just my honest. I love Ed Sheeran, but that is just one song that I really did not dig. But the thing is, Ed Sheeran knows that. Well, I mean, he doesn't know that me in particular don't like that song, but as in he knows that as the first single of this album, he purposely put out a song that was unusual to his usual sound. He said this in interviews. He said he wanted to surprise people with something unusual, and surprise he did. And he followed that up by saying that, you know, a lot of people won't like it and such. And unfortunately, I fall into that camp. He is right in saying that sparked some interest into the eventual album that will come out, because he did say that the album has sounds of, you know, a diverse range of sounds. To me, this sounded too processed, I don't know if pop is the right word, but like the instrumental, especially in the chorus, the dum 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 dum, it sounded super, I don't know, too simple, and yeah, it's just not my sound. I'm sorry if you like that song, but I cannot in any universe recommend that song to anyone. That's just me. But yeah. The music video too was such a weird thing to release by Ed Sheeran. Like, I cannot, yeah, I don't know. Not for me. Next song. The next song is called Overpass Graffiti, and I have a sneaking suspicion that this is gonna pop off without even having heard it yet. Mainly because I think he just announced that a music video to this song is coming out very, very soon. I may be wrong, but yeah, let's hear it. Cool. I did not expect this. This is very not Ed Sheeran in a interesting way. The keys sound very 80s. Ooh. Ooh. This sounds incredibly 80s. The uhs in the background, ooh, adds so much to the chorus. Ooh. That vocoder effect really got me. Wow. Wow, that's my favorite song of this album so far. Wow, that blew my expectations away. I'm gonna be honest, that was really, really good. Ooh. Okay, so you can tell that this song, he was trying to go full 80s. At least I think it was 80s. You could even count this as early 90s because the keys were very, yeah, I don't know anything. I'm just saying words at this point. But that vibe, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. What stood out was that this song in particular focused but like it focused less on the vocals than a usual song would, which is just like a lot of the songs in the 80s and 90s. The instrumental would play a larger role, and that was definitely the case here as well. It kept the rhythm going in very few breaks in between, and the vocals were not overpowering at any point, at least not that I remember. It's not like he was belting at any point, except the after the chorus, which is not really belting, but you know what I mean. Now that I think about it, this song really reminds me of the song called 305 by Shawn Mendes, which was released not too long ago on his latest album Wonder. It's again like one of those songs where the rhythm keeps going, the vocals aren't that overpowering, and it had a very similar vibe. So if you did like this song, I would highly recommend you listen to 305 by Shawn Mendes. Now I'm excited to see the music video of the song. It's not out yet as of me recording this, but yeah. that was really good. So far the best song. No wonder they're making this the next single. Makes a lot of sense. It'll probably bring a lot of attention to the album. Okay, next song. The Joker and the Queen.
How was I to know?
Very mellow, very sad. The raspiness of the guitar in the background is new to Ed Sheeran. Ooh, the orchestra in the background. The violins. What a vibe this is. Ooh. This would sound perfect in a movie. And the Queen. Wow, that was really good. Not gonna... Oh wow, it's pretty dark. Okay, wait, look, for context, it's actually really dark in real life. It's just that the camera is showing it to be brighter than it actually is. So this is what you see. That's how bright I am. This is how bright it actually is in here. Yeah. But this captures the mood of the song pretty well. It was very mellow, and if I'm being honest, when the song first opened, my first thought was, oh, this is... I don't know if I like this. Because, you know, Ed Sheeran has a lot of piano-only songs, which are great and all, but they're kind of repetitive, and, you know, there are a million piano songs out there. But this one, with the raspy guitar in the background, which, by the way, was new for Ed Sheeran. Usually the guitars in his songs, the acoustic ones, are not mastered in that way. Usually they sound normal, you know? But this was, like, edited to make it sound like it was coming out of a speaker. With that, and mainly the strings. Ooh, the strings. The strings added so much to it. It's one of those songs where I won't be surprised if a movie picks up this song to use for like the credit scene or like a sad scene or something, because this is like the perfect song for one. And I guess the overall melody, it was super simple. It sounded familiar, but at the same time, I couldn't really say what it was reminding me of. Yeah, this was a golden melody to bring onto a song. Wow, another win, another really good song on this song. I'm surprised, because usually with albums, I feel like most of them are just filler, just based on my taste, purely. Like there are a lot of songs where I'm like, yeah, that song's okay, but it has a high like skippability potential, at least for me. So far, I've really liked a lot of the songs, more than I thought I would. So yeah, next song, Leave Your Life. Another song I have yet to hear. Ooh.
If I forget to say goodbye,
Ooh.
feel when I'm away, I'm never gonna leave your life.
I like the way the vocals and instrumental blend. I really like the production of this. The chorus on that guitar is out of its mind. Wow. Yet another banger. What the heck? That was a super interesting song. Nothing like any other Ed Sheeran song that's been out so far. The beat sounded very like, you know how a lot of Kanye songs, you know when you can hear a cut on a layer in a song? A lot of Kanye songs have that. This song was filled with that. It was super raw in the sense that you can kind of hear the creative process being put together in a way. I don't know what I'm saying. The beat though, the beat coming from like his mouth sounds edited in a way that was interesting. Wow. Ooh. In fact, if you like that beat, I highly recommend the song Stranger in Moscow by Michael Jackson. The beat sounded super similar. That song's drum beat was also made with like mouth sounds, but also just the arrangement of the beat itself sounded super similar. And just like Overpass Graffiti, the vocals didn't overpower the instrumental at all. It feels like the instrumental was doing its own thing in a good way, like keeping the rhythm going, and it felt like both the vocals and the instrumental were made for each other, whereas, you know, in a lot of songs it really feels like the instrumental just shaping over the vocal track, whereas in this case they were complementing each other. That was a really good song. What can I say? Where are all the fillers? Yeah, let me turn on the lights. And we're back. The next song is called Collide. Let's go. Ooh, what the heck? This is very unlike Ed Sheeran. Sounds cool though. This is a very interesting song. That was interesting. Okay. okay. That was a good song. That's the first thing I'll say. That was a good song. But it was kind of weird, right? Like, you have to admit, like, that was very unusual. I feel like the past 3 songs in a row have had heavy influences of 90s music. Like, this one I felt had elements of 90s music, especially in the melody and the way the instrumental blended with the vocal. I feel like that song would have been, again, okay, before I say this, that song was pretty good, but I think it would have gotten me as much as the previous one did if the very heavily filtered dun, 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 that kept repeating throughout the song wasn't there. That's just my opinion. Everything else was cool. I really like the heavy pads. I like the melody of the song. Dun, 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 dun. The drum beat was a bit too heavy on sounding the way it did. I don't know how to judge this, but if the drums were a bit less prominent, that would have also helped. But all that said, it was still a really good song, just not as good as the previous 2. The previous 2 really set the bar high, which is probably why I'm talking about it as if it was a bad song, but really it was a good song. I'm just nitpicking. So yeah, next song, Two Step. The chorus effect is very strong on this one.
I feel like I got nothing left right now except this beauty in a dress right now.
I like the verse melody.
Yeah, all we need is us to go all night.
There it was. A filler song. Let me just preface this by saying, when I say filler, I mean filler for me. I think a lot of people would probably think that's one of the highlights of the album. But to me, I don't know, skippable. It's not the worst song on the album. It was very trap. The vocal recording sounded like it was recorded on the phone, probably because of over-processing of the vocal stem. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not into that kind of music. That's just the thing. I'm not into trap, minus a couple outliers. But it wasn't the worst song on the album. Bad Habits is still, in my opinion, was way worse than that was. Yeah, not much to say. Wasn't the biggest fan of that song. The melody of some of the raps were cool though. But aside from that, yeah, I don't know. Let's move on. Okay, the next song is called Stop the Rain.
Another human cloud to bring you down with the day. You cannot stop the rain away.
I didn't expect it to go in that direction. Yeah. I really like the key of this pre-chorus. Interesting. I'm on the fence on that one. While the chorus is super catchy, the first third of the song is putting a lot of effort to get me to like it, and I don't know how much I was budging, which is a deal breaker because, you know, I can like a part of a song because, you know, I like the ending, I like the chorus and all that, but if there's a significant chunk of the song where I'm not the biggest fan of, that's a deal breaker to me. I don't know if I'm gonna save this or not. But overall, it was interesting. It was very heavy on the drums. I don't know, maybe I'll grow into it, but for now, I'll give this song I'll give it like that, 75%. Or no, maybe like a 60%. But I feel like it's one of those songs where I'll end up like even more. So the next song is called Love in Slow Motion. Let's check it out. This sounds very 90s. I don't know how many times I've said that so far. Ooh, I didn't expect the flute. Ooh, I love the sound of this. That song entered signature Ed Sheeran territory. At least I think it did. The way the guitar sounded was unique, not signature Ed Sheeran, but the overall style in terms of songwriting, melody, all that was very signature Ed Sheeran. Something that could fit in Divide, you know, the second half of Divide, or Multiply. You know, the of the guitar that you can hear in the intro and the outro sounds a lot like The Weeknd's Scared to Live. Both the instrument sounds the same and the notes also sound the same. Sample maybe? Just kidding. Yeah, they sound very similar. I highly recommend listening to Scared to Live by The Weeknd. But yeah, not a bad song. A approved. Okay, next song. So the next song is Visiting Hours. That is a song that I've heard a couple times, and I've even made a video about it, reacting to it for the first time. But let's hear it again. Now this is a super sad song, even for Ed Sheeran.
So much has changed since you've been away. And I your advice. If I could take you home, and everyone
I really love the vocoder effect on this song. That was a good song. The vocoder effects on that song, magnifique. The feels, also magnifique. The choir, magnifique. Overall, good. Just good. After hearing a lot of the other songs on this album, this was probably around average. That just shows how good the album is so far, because when I first heard the single, I was given the impression that this was probably going to be one of the more above average songs on the album, since it was released as a single before the album came out. But then again, so was Bad Habits, and that was probably the worst song on the album so far. So I don't know. But the fact that I think this song is average on the album just shows how good the album has been so far. It has blown my expectations. Next song, SANDMAN. Fits right into a children's movie soundtrack. Cut to a scene of kids playing at the beach. Ooh, strings. Did not expect that at all. Ooh, I love it in the background. That's probably the highlight of this whole song. See, this song is a little confusing because obviously it's about hanging out at the beach, hence SANDMAN. In fact, I didn't even make the comparison of the title of the song SANDMAN when in the beginning, when I first played the song, I said as a joke, cue kids playing at the beach. I didn't make the connection, you know, beach sand. I just said that because it sounded like the beach. He successfully achieved that mood. But I say confusing because while it did definitely sound like kids playing at the beach, playing with the SANDMAN, bits of it sounded a lot like it was a Christmas song, especially when you pair the bells with the strings in the background. I don't know, it was interesting. I really liked the song. It was a nice vibe, very unique, very new for Ed Sheeran, and very calm, which is important. I can already see a million ukulele covers of the song on YouTube. This is like the perfect song to cover, I feel like. It's a good video. That was a nice, pleasant song. And I think this may be the longest song on the whole album. Yeah, it's the only song that breaks 4 minutes. Interesting. That was a good song. Not gonna lie, before I pressed play, I thought it was gonna be a more intense song, just because I associate the word SANDMAN with, you know, the one in Spider-Man. So in my head, it wasn't gonna be a calm song at all. But then I pressed play and it was the complete opposite to what I was expecting. So I thought it was funny. So the final song is called Be Right Now. Be Right Now, whatever that means. Let's find out. Oh. I like the combinations of sounds. I realize what this sounds like. This sounds very U2. Ooh. Yeah, when the song first started with the I definitely thought I wasn't gonna like it. I'm gonna be honest. Like, at that point I'm like, bro, what's this? Sounded cheap. But when more and more sounds started getting added in, it started to come together, and the way the sounds clashed with each other was unusual but nice at the same time. And then halfway through I realized it sounded just like U2. Where the streets have no name. The vocals were very steady, no like shouting or belting or any of that. It was very, you know, instead of yeah, it was like steady energy the whole time, and it was like very calm and all that. I'm not doing a good job explaining this, but the calmness of the vocals paired with the upbeat and like the you know, the beat that kept on going throughout the whole song was a nice contrast that really worked well together. Very U2-esque, and again, a very new sound for Ed Sheeran, and he pulled it off really well. Wow, this album made a lot of risks that paid off, which is crazy because, you know, I've heard albums where artists deviate from their usual sound. The execution doesn't end up being as good as I'd hope it to be, but this exceeded my expectations. I remember when Ed Sheeran was saying in interviews that this album would have a bit of everything. It really does. Overall, the album exceeds my expectations, despite one or two songs that I'm not crazy for, which are Bad Habits and I forgot the other one. But there are others where, dang, were really good from the get-go and very unexpected. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna go down the list of songs and do a save or no save. Like, should I save the song or should I not? So in today's edition of save or no, wait, what rhymes with save? Save or wave? Save or shave? Whatever, I'll just call it save or no save. Okay, save or no save. Tides. Upbeat intro, strong drums, nice breakdown. As you can see, I'm trying to remember what all these songs sounded like. But yes, Tides is a save. Next, Shivers. Save or no save? Save. As you can tell, I'm a bit reluctant on that, but it's because when I first heard it, it was a meh song for me, but after hearing it a couple more times, I think I'm going to like it. So I think for now, I'll give it a save. First times, I don't remember what this song sounded like at all. Let me quickly hear it again. Oh, yes, strings, I remember. Save, because the strings were really nice, and it was the first song on this album where the strings came in prominently. Save, Bad Habits. Nah, I can't save that. I cannot save Bad Habits, I'm sorry. Bad Habits is, I can't call it a good song, I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Let me have my opinion. But yeah, don't save. Overpass Graffiti, save. Okay, so I've heard most of these songs only once so far, and I think based on my first impression of everything, I think that's the best song off the album. I don't really remember exactly what it sounds like off the top of my head right now, but I remember being blown away when we first heard it earlier this video. Save. The Joker and the Queen, save. It had an interesting vibe, very movie-like vibe with piano and guitar. Yes, worth a save. Leave Your Life. I forgot what that sounded like. Oh yeah, this song. Oh yeah, this definitely deserves a save. Oh, that was such a good song. This is probably the second best song off the album. Leave Your Life. Just because the beat is so interesting and everything blended really nicely. Leave Your Life. Save. Okay, Collide. I forgot what that sounded like. Oh yeah. Save. Because it sounded very 90s, and so far all the 90s sounding songs, sorry, that was a tongue twister, sounded pretty good. So Collide, save. Two-step, nah, I'm just not into trap. Okay, that's not true. I'm just not into, it really has to be a really good song for me to like a trap song, and for that I'm out. No save. Stop the Rain. I forgot what that sounded like. Was this a song I was on the fence on? It has a good chorus, but some of the instrumentation I'm not the biggest fan of. So I might have to pass for now, but this might grow on me because I do like the chorus genuinely. I just don't like other parts of the song. But I might end up saving it, but for now I'll have to leave it. Ooh. So what's next? Love in Slow Motion. Save. Signature Ed Sheeran. What's good is that we have less signature Ed Sheeran songs on this album, which was I was a bit afraid of that going into this album, because with Divide, I feel like while there were unique songs that deviated away from his usual style, I feel like towards the end there were a lot more signature style Ed Sheeran songs, which became a bit too abundant in my opinion. Not that they were bad or anything, it just felt like there were too many and he wasn't taking enough risks. But this album has a lot less signature Ed Sheeran sounding songs than I expected it to, which is good, but wouldn't have been bad otherwise if pulled off correctly. But yeah, this was like, you know, this was one of the typical Ed Sheeran sounding songs on this album, and it was pretty good. That style didn't oversaturate this album, and I'm glad this song was the one to represent his signature style in this album. Okay, so Visiting Hours, save, easy. That was a nice sad song, nice chorus, nice vocoder sounds. Ooh. Sandman, save. That was a very interesting song with the ukulele vibe. Be Right Now, as we just discussed, was very U2 sounding, very 90s, very nice, and it all blended very well. And yeah, those were my thoughts on Ed Sheeran's newest album. Let me know if your saves are the same, or whether you left out different songs or what. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect to save this high of a proportion of songs. Let me just compare it to... Okay, I guess I did save quite a few songs from Divide as well. But look at how many I didn't save. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 7 songs I didn't save off of Divide, whereas on Equals, that number is reduced to 3. So this, despite it having 2 less songs, this had a lot more higher quality song, if that makes sense. Wait, let me actually compare it to number 6 collaborations. See, look, a bunch of songs I didn't save, even though I did still save the majority. Let's ignore that. Let's look at the amount I didn't save. That's still quite a bit. I only left out like 3 songs on this album I'd be interested in hearing. And those were my thoughts on Ed Sheeran's new album. And what's great is that he's coming up with yet another full-length album, minus I presume, in the next like 16 months, which is a lot shorter of a window than the previous album was, even though he had number 6 collaborations in between. But yes, I'm excited for that, and peace.